What I do know about is I brought a whole skill set from my many years in real life. Well, I call it physical life because all of it is real to me. A background in many different arts, in education and training, in organization development, and in humanistic psychology. And the minute I heard about Second Life, which was about 6 years ago, I wanted in because I recognized right away that for creative people, this was a marvelous playground for developing all kinds of ideas and ways of doing things. And so I was very curious about how could I use the technology of Second Life to augment what I was doing already in my regular life, which was using arts processes symbolically to represent feeling states, values, ideas, challenges of different kinds, and having people actually work with what they create on the screen as a way of discovering different options that they have for shifting their perspective.
Marley's now going to demonstrate the discovery process with Sophia Yates, the organizer of the conference.
Now, Sophia, you've had quite a time putting this conference together with all the ins and outs, ups and downs, and the pressure. So I want you to pay attention to your body at the keyboard and what that feeling of that stress and pressure is like. And then I'd like you to pull out an object that's going to represent that feeling state of being pressured or having a lot going on at once. Now, I'll explain to the people who are listening or watching that when I do this class, some people are very experienced builders and others are beginners. For the beginners, I will provide a number of different shapes that they can choose from, or I have a poster that describes the steps of bringing a shape out onto the ground, coloring it or texturing it. But I work back and forth between the object that appears on the screen and the person's body at home, which is the barometer. And I say to them, watch what your body's telling you, and there'll be a moment that comes that says, yes, that's it. That's my representation of my feeling state. So we're watching now what Sophia is going to be putting on the ground to represent. Now, I gave you a feeling state to work with, but that may not be, I mean, you may be cool as a cucumber. Now she's paying attention to how big should the object be to represent the feeling state. So she's making it quite a bit larger. I can see that it's a kind of a blue-violet, and it's a kind of translucent, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we can actually see the grass underneath it, and now it's become a cube.
And it's a little transparent because I'm showing a little bit of myself. I'm exposing myself.
Yep.
It's very fragile because I'm going to say it's made of glass.
All right, now I'm going to ask you to switch from third person to first person, and instead of speaking of the object as it, I want you to become the object as though you were a character in a play. Describe yourself and how you are experiencing Sophia's feeling state.
Well, at the moment, I'm feeling very fragile, sort of. I guess, I'm going to be honest.
You're a glass box.
I'm a glass box because
Yeah.
I'm fragile. I can break. But I have an angel there. To me, that little bit of texture there adds a little bit of someone's on my shoulder. I feel a bit fragile, a bit exposed, but I feel safe still because I'm surrounded by people that love me. And, the most important people showed up.
Okay. The point I want to make to the viewers is that this is a very different way of using the technology in Second Life. I don't actually know other people who are doing this kind of work, and it's really still at the beginning. There are lots of different things that can happen with this. For instance, I got a drawing board recently, and I'm experimenting with having people who prefer to draw the images. So let's go back to your glass box. Now, you made a statement that you're willing to be this vulnerable because you know you're surrounded by people who love you. Is that represented in this image of the glass box, or would there be something that you would need to add or change? Or
Yes, I'd add a bubble.
can you do that?
Yeah, sure.
She's running back and forth between the two screens. So now, so I follow what the client is telling me. I don't intervene with my own analysis. And so I just fed back to her. She mentioned about the people who love her, and that makes the experience bearable, and it may even introduce a different element. Now we're seeing this red sphere appear. Let's see where she puts it in relation to this glass box. Stay in touch with your body at the computer until you feel like it's in the right place, it's the right size, and it's the right color. So the glass box is her feeling of vulnerability. And the red sphere is the bubble. And what is that part of your experience? Be that red bubble and speak.
That red bubble represents a lot of like my dreams and aspirations, things that I want to aspire to, my goals, things where I want to go in life. And sometimes that bubble is popped.
That's true. Right now, what I see is that it's kind of floating on top of your
It's
glass.
above me, almost out of my reach.
It's
because
almost out of reach. Okay. All right. Does it feel like it's in the right place? Do these two objects feel like they're in the right place in relation to each other?
Yeah, they are. They're center. My glass box, I'm in that
Okay.
glass box because it's very fragile. And I have my dreams above me, which is a glass bubble itself.
All right.
And that it's within reach of others who can see it. And it's within reach of myself, and it's within reach of others.
Okay, now I want you
I
to
could
do
pop my
something
own
very
bubble.
interesting. First of all, since you're not on the screen, I'm going to be representing where you are in that glass box, so you
Right.
can put me in
A little bit
where
more.
where you should be, and you can just pretend that Molly is Sophia, okay, because she's not on the screen. I'm in one corner. Is that where you want me to? Oh, okay. Well, whatever. It's your image. So you tell me where you want to be. Okay. And let's refer to that right now. I'm just being a stand-in for Sophia. So that's Sophia. Now, we actually have three entities at the same time here. There's Sophia, there's the glass box, and there's the dream bubble, right? Okay. Now let's have just a short dialogue between the dream bubble and the glass box. First, I'm going to ask you, who would speak first to who?
I think my dream would speak first to the glass box.
Okay, and what would it want to say?
It would say, become solid, become stronger, don't be so fragile.
What would that do for you?
It would help me become more concrete and more apt to reach my dream and make that glass bubble more solid.
Okay, and right now, you are standing in the center of
The
that
center.
glass thing. Now, if you tried making that more concrete, what would happen to you in there? And would you want to stay in there or move?
No, I would want to move out of that because
All right.
that's a very fragile environment.
So let's try that. Let's move you out of the box and make the box more, what you said, more strong, more solid, and see how your dreams then react to that. She's taking the suggestion of her dream bubble and putting a more solid foundation underneath, and she is moving. Didn't you say you wanted to move her out of the, yeah, okay. She crawled out from underneath. All right. Okay, now let's go up to Dream Bubble and ask, how does that feel to you? Does that feel like the right foundation for you? She's saying no, because the bubble should become solid eventually, which would help to attain her goal. All right, then you have to figure out how the two would interact. If you make the red more solid now, right, I noticed that you've kind of dropped it part way into the glass box. All right, speak.
It's easier for a box. I mean, it's easier for a sphere to fit into a box. So my dreams are more attainable.
Uh-huh, all right.
And so I can fit my dreams into that solid box because I have made myself less vulnerable.
All right, now see what each side has to say to the other about how you've changed the visual now. Wherever you want to start.
All right. Well, I'd say that because I've made my foundation a little bit more solid.
I'm more solid as the foundation. Speak with
Yes.
eye language.
Yeah, I'm more solid with the foundation because I have taken control of certain aspects of my life and my dreams and aspirations.
And you speak to them.
Yeah, my dreams have become more attainable. And so that glass bubble will become as solid as a rock, just like that box.
Just like me.
Just like
All
me.
right, now switch to the glass bubble and see where it's at, by itself and in relation to the box.
In relation to the box. So I'm going to go back over there, and I'm going to show you where that glass...
Okay. All right, so now Sophia's moved that bubble to a different, and she's making it more solid now, and it looks like it's inside the box. Oh, somewhat sticking out, right, so we can see it. It's inside the box, and they both have become attainable. A more solid foundation and more allows for the more possibility of the dreams to be manifested, right?
Growth, right.
Okay. Okay, so that I think that's enough. Just say a little bit about what that process is like for you.
To me, actually, it's, like doing this type of exercise does actually emotionally affect you because no matter who you are, you're coming out with your real feelings inside about your insecurities, what you're dreaming and how your outside world is affecting you. It is very moving if you go through this process, really.
The other thing is that you begin to realize that you actually do create your own reality. You choose your symbolic representations of your feeling states or ideas, and therefore you can do anything you want with them. And when I do these coaching sessions, it's quite amazing that people start to get the insight. Oh my God, I'm making this problem really large. I don't have to make it this large. I can make it a more manageable size and then see what happens. I can go sit on top of it. I can go inside it. I can go underneath it. And every time I change my relationship to my creation, I change my perspective and therefore change my options.
And you're always in control of your life.
That's right. If you want to see sessions that I've done, you can go to my website, which I think you all have a copy of, and there are a couple of videos in there. One is an introduction to Gestalt psychology, and the other one is one in which I'm actually working with somebody in representing a feeling state and so on. And then Sophia has one that we worked on together from CESL, Counselors and Educators in Second Life conference, which I'm a part of each year. And there's another conference coming up Virtual World's Best Practices in Education, where I do a session. So there are plenty of opportunities
On
to.
your site, you have 2 videos that represent virtual world therapy,
Well, yes, on
Study.
my not on my website.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. And also on that website, under projects, there's an outline of all the different kinds of projects I do, because today I've simply talked about one. I do things with paintings and photographs. I do things with role plays and theater, with different kinds of arts processes. I try to bring in a lot of my own background and make it applicable for this environment. So my group is called Octagon, Creative Exploration. And if any of you come in and are interested, please come see me or come join the group, and you'll get notices about programs that I'm doing. Okay?
Thank you.
I'm just wondering if anyone has questions, or, because this is so different from what other people are offering.
I have a question for Marley.
Yes.
Does this work as well with older people as well as with younger people? Do you have a preferred age?
All right, well,
Well, we're gonna-
surprise, surprise, I'm 78.
Bless your heart. You
And
rock,
I
Sue.
know quite a few people my age who are coming to sessions, and I think that one of the great futures for Second Life is for the older population who either can't travel or are disabled or
Just don't want to go out that
want to be
much.
connected to the world and to different ways of learning. So definitely. In fact, Ludo Merritt, who's one of the people on one of the videos that you might watch, is just a few years younger than I am. So it's definitely applicable for the older generation.
And do you think it would work with kids as well?
Oh, you bet. In fact, I did a class with college students, and I think that for kids it's a natural, because
Yeah.
particularly like in teaching them things about conflict resolution, different ways of solving problems.
Oh,
like,
yeah. That's
using
brilliant.
all of these different ways of using objects and visuals, which they're so used to anyway. It would be a natural. I would like to train people who are interested in using these kinds of approaches in how to do it, and also just have anyone who's interested in filming any of it is welcome.
Marlena, they're asking in live chat, would it be possible for you to post the link to that page you were talking about of your work there and what you're involved with?
Yes.
Could somebody paste that in live stream
And
chat?
It's peoplesystemspotential.com. Sophia's going to write it out again. I think it's on a list.
Marley and I have talked about, we haven't gotten it too far there, about actually getting together a virtual world education for mental health people so that they can understand the potentials available for those who are, have, internet addictions, or those who are trying to deal with far away distributive team type of a coalition. So we've talked about actually getting a certification for virtual psychology.
Okay, well, thank you, and I enjoyed sharing this with you, and hope to see some of you again.
Yeah, thank
Thanks. It
you.
was great.
This is something that I've learned from Marley and from my own mother and from my friend's mother, is that you never stop educating yourself. You don't stop. You keep going. There's no age limit to, all right, my time has come. I have to retire. I don't have to learn anymore. We're constantly learning, and this is a great example of that, and she is a great example of that. She's given me, and my mother has given me hope that, no hope. I mean, I'm going to keep going, just like everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
You don't stop.